Okay, hello everyone. My name is Laquan Williams, and in this video topic, I wanted to discuss the episode that happened just a couple of days ago for DC Legends of Tomorrow, their current seventh season. Actually, their current sixth season. It was episode six of season six, episode I think episode eight, and it was basically the whole entire team going back to the 1800s and the cowboy, old western days. That's basically what it was. It was called Stress Western, I believe. But yeah, so basically what happened and obviously something. Basically, what happened is they went back into the past, in the 1800s and the cowboy days, the gunslinger Midwest days. Obviously, the Old West. Excuse me. They found that there was apparently an alien down there in that time, and because obviously in this current season they're hunting aliens who obviously kidnapped not only Sarah Lance but were able to roam around free in the world because of obviously anomalies and situations that happened in the previous season just randomly. What happened at the end of the last season was obviously in episode season 5 at the season finale. Sarah Lance was abducted. The first 7 episodes, they were out this whole season was obviously trying to get her back. They finally got her back on the last episode, so that's basically what's happened as far as if you're caught up to date what happened. So they went to this old town. They thought that they were looking around to see what happened, and obviously they found out that there was some type of alien activity going down there. So apparently the sheriff of the town was controlling this sandworm, kind of like if you've seen Beetlejuice, the movie, where that big sandworm pops out of the ground and eats him and other people in the movie. It was kind of like that, but instead of the sandworm coming out of the ground itself, it fed on the anger of people. So because of this, every time people get into a fight, obviously in the town, obviously the worm, which was controlled by the sheriff, he used like some type of it was like a whistle he had around his neck, and he controlled it. So he's basically not only the sheriff of the town, but he controlled everybody and ruled them with obviously an iron fist, because obviously he had that worm around, obviously in his control. So he was able to control everybody and scare them, and basically just like that. We've seen like similar situations like that before. And because of this, obviously, people were afraid of him, and the whole town was basically like a happy-go-lucky type of thing. Obviously, in the 1800s, when it's like cowboys and obviously robbers and stuff, and that's obviously not the case. Obviously, so the whole entire team knew that there was something wrong, that this was weird, and they found out obviously that that's what happened. Dave Ramsey, who plays John Diggle in the Green Arrow TV show that happened. He's also involved in the CW Arrowverse. He's been on multiple shows before Green Arrow was over. In its final season, its 8th final season. He was on this episode. He was also on Supergirl, I think last week, and he's supposed to be on Superman and Lois when they return on June 13th, if I'm not mistaken. So he's making appearances in multiple shows in the CW Arrowverse, obviously. So that's basically what's going on. So he was in here. He didn't play himself. He played a cowboy marshal that obviously federal marshal that informed the legends about what was happening with the worm. The reason why the worm is obviously the sandworm was intact and basically not destroyed, because the whole entire town obviously was actually really very thirsty and crazy, and they turned on the legends and tried to obviously take them out and shoot at them. Was because obviously the alien, the worm has gold that it sheds its skin and it lets gold out. So it was basically their gold mine. So that sandworm basically was valuable to them. So they couldn't let the legends obviously destroy it. So the whole town revolted against them. They obviously had to fight back before they obviously could get captured and destroyed. And they obviously they were arguing with each other as well. The whole entire team was arguing, and that obviously screwed things up because the worm did come out, but Nate obviously did try to take him on by itself when he used his superpowers. So he's obviously like their Cyclops, not their Cyclops, Colossus. He can change his whole body into steel, so he's basically like Steel Man basically. But obviously he didn't do anything. He just stood there obviously because he was scared. But with the help of Spooner, she used her psychic alien powers to basically stop the alien from moving. It didn't work really that long because obviously it was too powerful. So Azra used her magic that she recently obviously learned with John Constantine, obviously helping her as his apprentice, and she destroyed the thing and blasted it, and then it became basically a bunch of dust that flew into the sky. It was basically gold, and that's basically what happened to it. The whole entire team also learned that Sarah Lance is a alien hybrid clone and that she's bulletproof. She got into a shootout with the sheriff before this all happened, and she challenged him to a duel, which is a shootout, and they basically took 10 paces behind each other. He cheated. He shot Sarah Lance in the head. He only turned 5 paces, and he shot her in the head, and he thought he killed her. The whole entire team watched it, and then obviously they found out, obviously, well, they knew she was obviously they knew she was obviously, they didn't know she was bulletproof until this happened, so they thought she was dead when he shot her in the head, and you can see it clearly up close because they showed it. Then obviously after that she got up, she walked towards him, he kept shooting her, and nothing worked. The bullets bounced off her like she was Luke Cage, basically. Or obviously Nate, who's on the team, who was, the Steel Man, obviously, he's bulletproof as well. He also told her, welcome to the club now that you're bulletproof. That's basically what happened. So the whole team knows about Sarah Lance's situation, her being a clone and whatnot. And that's basically what happened. They got onto the ship and obviously finished the mission. That was basically it. This whole entire Fountain of Imperium, I forgot what it's called, but anyways, John Constantine is asking Gary, who they all know he's obviously an alien, but he has a human shape-shifting form that he has had on the show for years now, but they didn't know about it until this current season. John Constantine is asking Gary where to find this fountain so he can jump into it and gain his magic powers back, because obviously his power and his abilities are obviously dwindling, and he obviously sacrificed them to help the team, and so he's not at 100%, but he said the only person that knows about it is Aleister Crowley, who's trapped inside a painting, that his soul is trapped inside a painting in John Constantine's attic / house. And we saw this a couple episodes ago on the episode called The Devil's Apprentice, when Azra she asked Aleister Crowley to help her learn dark magic, obviously black magic, and she did that, letting him out of the painting and trapping him in putting him in John Constantine's body, and then John Constantine and him reverse roles, where he was in the painting and John Constantine was John Constantine was in the painting and Crowley was in his body, because Azra used a spell on them to switch obviously their situations that they're obviously currently in. But obviously towards the end everything was fixed and obviously reconciled. So that's basically what's happening on the show. Yeah, it was cool. I liked it a little bit better than last week's episode, because I liked it because it was a little bit different, as far as them moving forward towards obviously the end goal. Obviously the first 7 episodes were basically finding obviously Sarah Lance and trying to get her back in. Obviously things continue not to go well, but now it was cool to see something different, where obviously they're going back into the Old West days, the cowboy days, and Dave Ramsey obviously appeared on obviously as John Diggle, but he wasn't obviously himself John Diggle. He appeared obviously there, but he obviously had a different name, but that's how it was. Sarah asked him obviously if he was Dig, and he said, I do dig, but he obviously didn't respond to her name because he wasn't himself. He was obviously somebody else, so he wasn't John Diggle. Obviously that would require him to travel into the past in order to do that, which would obviously they do, but he couldn't do that himself, because obviously he doesn't have a time ship. He can't do that. I believe Argus has the technology, obviously, since his wife Lila is at the head of Argus now that their head is not, now that she's in charge of, obviously, over there now. So we'll see what happens with that. So that was basically it on the episode. It was cool. We'll see what happens on next week's episode. It's very interesting. This next week's episode is like kind of like a Hollywood type of movie set type of ordeal, where they have they're fighting this. It's not Bebo, but it's this stuffed furry animal. I don't know if it looking like Furby or obviously Bebo in the last couple of seasons, and they're supposed to be on a Hollywood movie set, and it's weird, but it looks pretty funny. But we'll see how it happens with next week. The last week's episode was about a 6. I give this one a 7.5. It's a little bit better than last week's episode. I enjoyed them going back into the past and obviously having a little fun, and then had the cowboy guy on there that was constantly singing and obviously repeat, kind of like making songs around what they were doing, their actions. That was funny. And then he came on the ship towards the end. He was doing songs, the cowboy hat singing guy. It was pretty funny and hilarious. I liked it, so it was cool. That's basically it. That's all I have to say about this episode, and we'll see what happens obviously next week, and that'll be it. So that's basically my review. Let me know what you have to think about this if you watched it. If you have not watched it, let me know if you have, why you haven't, and if you haven't seen the show in a couple of years because you checked out because you were tired of it and fatigued, let me know obviously, and we'll see what happens with there. Then this was on Of Den of Geek. It talks about what happened on the show last night, and that's basically it. Thank you again for watching my video, and that's about it. And that's all I have to say about this in regards to the current episode that aired on Sunday, June 27th, which was a couple days ago, and it was DC Legends of Tomorrow on the CW-TV network. Their episode 8 of their 6th and current season, and that'll be it for me. Thank you for watching again, and bye. Thank you.